Hello, everyone. Welcome to Moms Living the Dream Life, how to raise a happy family while building the business of your dreams. My name is Sophia Mackers, and I'm the host, and I'm putting this interview series together because I want to empower moms to say yes to their dreams, that it is possible to raise a happy family and go for your dreams and build your dream business. And for that reason, I interviewed 21 amazing mompreneurs that are making it happen. They're sharing with you their journey of how they're managing it all, what their day looks like, and how they're making it happen, because they want it for you too. So today I have the amazing mompreneur with me. Her name is Krista. Rizzo is a certified transformational life coach, author, speaker, and video show host, focusing on mindset, communication, balance, and empowerment. Krista is obsessed with motivating women and teens by helping them realize their true capabilities. Through her signature coaching and speaking topic, Inspiring Transformation, she will show you how to fully embrace, accept, and most importantly, create change in your life so you can unapologetically step into your power. Krista is a member of the prestigious Forbes Coaches Council, where she is often tapped for opinion and content. She's also an active contributor for HuffPost and the Today Show parenting website. Krista has been featured in the New York Post and has guested on multiple podcasts where she has been showcased as a thought leader in her field. And I want to thank you so much for being here today with us, Krista.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about this.
Thank you. Well, Krista, I would like you to begin with how it all began for you. Like, when did it all start, like your journey?
So my journey into entrepreneurship or having my own coaching business started about 4 years ago. I was working for a very large corporation, and I live in New York City. And I was just feeling like I needed to do something else, professionally unfulfilled. I just, and I didn't realize it until, I came home from work one day and I was like, something's just not clicking. I just don't feel like I belong there anymore. So I found a way to get out of it, honestly. So I took the steps I needed to take to move on and quit my job and do all the things. And at that point, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was kind of stuck. I was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And I started working with a career coach, and she basically told me that after doing self-assessments and having conversations and doing coaching and all the things that we were doing, she suggested that I actually look into coaching for myself. And it never really dawned on me. I had been writing a blog. I started the blog called Why Am I Yelling 8 or 9 years ago now. And it really was just a hobby. It was like, stories of my life, stories of my kids, stories about, social stuff and paying it forward and that kind of thing. It wasn't really something that I wanted to monetize. I had never even thought about it, honestly. But that kind of just sat on my shoulders after I quit my job. I was like, I should go back to writing. I should really do something. So I started writing the blog again. I reached out to a career coach, and we kind of got the ball rolling. And she said to me, you should be coaching. You absolutely need to be doing something that is helping other people, giving back, helping people along their paths in life. Like, that seems to be your calling. So I looked into it and I decided to go ahead and get certified. So I took a certification course. It was about 8 months long. And I got certified to be a professional life coach. And so I can coach on basically anything. I decided to go into parenting and relationships at the forefront because I was in the thick of it myself. At the time, I had an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old. And, I wanted to be able to have the flexibility to have my own schedule, book my own clients. And really from there, it kind of started, building into more of a speaking role. And I was doing more writing, and I was doing all kinds of other things rather than just having private clients and coaching. So I did group coaching courses. I did workshops. I do speaking for a lot of community events and organizations. And that has kind of, over the last 3 years, turned into what my business is moving toward. And it's funny when you start these journeys because you never know what to expect. Like, okay, I think I'm just going to have some clients and we're going to do some coaching. It's going to be great. And then it's like, oh, well, would you like to speak at my event? well, that seems like a fun idea. And then, my writing, I was blogging again, and I started contributing to the HuffPost and doing Forbes, and the Today Show picked up a few of my things. And so it was like, okay, so now there are different avenues to explore, and you don't even realize it when you start. So for me, it was very enlightening and very eye-opening. I just finished my first book. We're heavily editing now, so hopefully it'll be out in October. We've had to push it back for some summer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, I never in a million years thought 4 years ago when I was sitting at my desk trying to figure out how to make this all work, that it was going to turn into like 5 different avenues of things to do. But it has.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. And while that transformation into your coaching business, and you're a mother and you have 2 boys, as you said, did you face any fears of like how you're going to make it happen? Like motherhood?
Oh, yes. What? If you're not a little bit afraid every single day, I feel like you're doing it wrong. Like you have to like push through your fear. So for me, I was afraid of making the wrong decision. Yeah. So when I left my job, I didn't have a parachute. I mean, like I had saved some money, I had a severance package, I had all this stuff. So, I mean, money-wise, we were okay, but I didn't really have a plan. And so it was like, maybe I should just go get a job because this is how much money I need to make and this. And I was always so obsessed with that stuff. And I remember I was going on interviews at major corporations, and I was having job offers, and I was declining all of them because I didn't want to do it. And I remember sitting in my kitchen on the floor the day that like one of the number 1 companies in the world was about to offer me, like we were sitting down with HR going into negotiations. And my husband like was walking through the kitchen. He sees me sitting on the floor and I'm crying. And he was like, what is going on? I don't like when you cry. What's happening? And I said, I don't want this job, and I don't want to lead them on. And I feel like if I continue through this negotiation, I'm not going to take it to begin. And I just don't know I don't know what the right thing to do is. And I keep trying to ask, the universe for a sign and whatever it is, but I don't know what to do. And my husband just looked at me, and I was in the middle of my coaching courses, and he said, you have to try what it is that you really want. And you are so excited about the classes that you're taking and the certifications and the people that you're meeting and the networking that you're doing. He's like, you can't not do this. So you have to push through your fear. We'll figure it out and we'll be okay. But you have to give yourself this opportunity to do it. And I think that, I always have fear. There's always a little bit of fear in me every single day when I wake up. It's like, did I put out the right content? Did I have the right conversation with this client? Did I say the right things to my kids this morning? Like, I feel like there's always a little bit like sitting on your shoulder. But if you really firmly believe in what you're doing and what your mission is and what you want to accomplish down the road, even like tomorrow or 10 years from now, stick with your gut. Because that, I think, is your most honest indicator of what you should be doing. Like every time I've not listened to my gut, I've regretted it. And I've done it plenty of times in the last 4 years. It's like I started a project because I thought it was a really great idea, and it turned out to be a terrible, terrible experience. But then you look at it as a learning opportunity. It's like, I will never do that again. And I remember that feeling, and I know that if I ever feel that way again, I'm not doing it, no matter how great the opportunity seems. So there's a lot of learning involved. There's a lot of, room for failure. But I got some really good advice from one of my dad's friends when I started this. And he is an entrepreneur himself. And he pulled me aside and said, I'm really proud that you're doing this. And if anybody can make something happen out of something like this, it's you. He said, but I want you to do me a favor, and I want you to promise me that you're going to give yourself a good 2 to 3 solid years of just working, and not, you're never going to make the money. It's going to take, not that you're never going to make the money. It's going to take you a little while. You're not going to be making 6 figures in 2 minutes. Anybody tells you that they're doing that is lying. Like, you have to do the work and work hard and have a game plan and a vision and all the things, but know that patience is probably one of the biggest factors for anybody who's starting their own business. And if you don't have that, you won't succeed.
Exactly. I feel that like that was a conversation I had with my husband also today, and saying, because I'm building my business now, and it's been 2 years since I began here in Greece. And it's like I told him, like, I can't get disappointed. I can't go into fear mode. I can't stop this thing that is moving forward. I just give myself 5 years. I'm like, it's just the beginning. I still got 3 more to go just to get me started. So that helps me, saying that it's not over. Why am I getting stressed? It's like, this is just the beginning. Like 2 years is like 2 days. I should like 5 years is like 5 days. So be patient. Exactly. That's nice. That's good advice. Yeah, we do have to put the effort. We have to put the work, and every mistake or something that goes wrong, or everything we go for that doesn't work out the way we want it to work out, as you said, lesson. And on the way, I've noticed that I've met people. I always get something good out of everything bad that happens, or every like mistake that happens.
Right.
I meet one person, I learn one thing that I was like, wow, I thank God I learned that from that whole, wrong choice I took. So there's always a lesson. Yeah. So that's great. That's great. So you did have support from from your husband. Did you have like support at home, like how we all go crazy moms, like, oh, we have to clean and wash and
so my husband has been like my number one supporter, which is, it's great. And he's also silent in his support, right? I mean, like, he'll give me whatever I need, but he's not the kind of person who's going to walk in and say, this is what you should be doing. Like, he'll let me stumble if I need to stumble. It's not, and he, will help me get up, but I have to learn how to do this for myself. My kids are very helpful.
Would you want him to help you like a little bit more and not let you stumble? Would you sometimes be like, oh, come on, why didn't you help me on that? Or
no,
you're fine with it?
No, because you know what? He is not, like, he doesn't have his own business. He has a full-time job, and he's got an important job. So he doesn't really have, not that he doesn't have time. Like, he's happy to listen to what's going on and offer advice if I ask for it. But if he walked in and said to me, you need to like revamp the whole thing, I'd be like, you need to go away, because you have
exactly. So no. I know what I'm doing. Just go to your business in a nice way.
Right. No, but he's very supportive of the decisions that I've made so far. He's, my kids are super supportive. I feel like I've got a really good support system. I've got a great community in place. We've got a ton of friends and family who help out. And that has been beneficial for us. So yeah, I have, and I think that's important. You don't have a support system, even if it's just one person, that's hard. And so if you feel like you don't have that, you need to cultivate that, and you need to like go out and join a networking group. You need to get online and join a Facebook group where there are women supporting women. You need to reach out to friends and say, listen, I really just need an ear to bounce ideas off of, or an opinion of somebody who really doesn't know what this is all about, but is willing to learn, so I can get some feedback. I feel like if you're going it alone and you don't have a solid support system in place, you really need to find it and cultivate it and manage it.
Exactly. That helps. I see that helps. Yeah. And empowering like people, positive people, and that, support you on your dream. Of course. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
All right. So with your husband and your kids, do you plan out ahead your schedule, like date nights to keep, because definitely you and your husband work many hours, and so how do you keep that warm relationship together?
We have completely opposite schedules, which is the craziest thing on the planet. So he works in the news business in the United States, and he works in the evenings. So we have mornings together because I work from home. So we are more apt to doing like a brunch or something before he goes to work, or a day date or something before, or we'll have to wait for Saturday night or Sunday night or whatever. But we do tend to try to make time for each other, whether it is, the 15 minutes we have between him coming home and like finishing up what he needs to do for his job, and me getting the kids to bed and doing all that stuff, we've kind of nailed it down because this has just been our life for the last 20 something years. So it's not new to us. Like we had kids with 2 different schedules, and so I'm a pretty organized person, and my boys are very easy to manage. Like they can acclimate to just about any situation. So I'm very lucky in that sense. And my older one is almost a teenager, so he pretty much comes and goes as he pleases. He takes public transportation to school in New York City, and so he's on his own, which is lovely, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Yes. But he's a responsible kid, and he's at school, and it's all fine. He does his after-school curricular activity, and so I don't do a lot of managing him because he's got his schedule and he has his things. So it's really just me dealing with the younger one who's in school full time, and he's got an after school program. So he's taken care of pretty much for most of the day. So we do have a good schedule system and a way to manage it so we can figure out time for ourselves as a couple.
That's nice. That's nice. So as you said, like when you first had your children and you were building your business, well, actually it was 4 years. So I guess your children were older. So it was more manageable. So it was easier for you to manage your kids, I guess, with a babysitter or someone to, take care of them because they were older.
Yeah.
Were you,
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, like,
my older one was in school full time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, just like to see how it was when the kids were younger and you were beginning, like, how did you manage that? Because we don't sleep good at night. I personally have a 10, a 7, and a 2.5. My nights are like, okay, like I party when I sleep 5 hours straight. It's like, woohoo, that was
me too. Yeah. I think for me it was, we just needed to come up with a system pretty early on. And so when I started this entrepreneurial journey, my older one was in school full time and he had an after school program that was already in place. So he was taken care of 8 hours of the day or longer. And my little guy was in school. How old was he? He was 2, 3, something like that. So he was in daycare, and now he's in school full time and he's got an after school program. So we definitely have, that available to us, which is fantastic. And then in the summers, we have a place outside of the city. We live in Connecticut in the summers. And so it is, it's like free range parenting. Nobody, like, the kids just get on their bikes and they come down to the lake and they go to camp and they do their things. And so I have time during the day to, like, focus on the things I need to focus on and dedicate my time to that. And, here's the other thing, ladies, time is a commodity for all of us, right? It's precious. We have to be, especially if we're building our businesses and we're trying to, maintain our families and our marriages and all the things that we've got going on and our friends and all the things that, we feel are really important, which they are. You kind of have to find the times that are easy for you. So if you have to be at home with your kids in the mornings, or there's a chunk of time during your day where you need to allocate that for your family, don't feel bad about that, right? Just figure out what works for you. I know for me, especially this summer, because I'm helping out a lot volunteering at my son's camp, I do a lot of work at night. I work between the hours of 9:30 and 12:30. And I get up I'm a morning person. So I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I do what I need to do in the morning. And I work for 2 hours before we go to camp or whatever. So I get a lot done in the times that they're either sleeping or they're not needing me so much. Just like, they can, be on a device for a half hour and I can get some things done, or they're asleep at night and I have the house to myself and I can focus and do what I need to do. So finding the bits and pieces is okay. It doesn't have to be, you're doing this because you don't want to work a 9 to 5. You're doing this because you want to be able to create your own idea of your best life. And so for some of us, that is working in the middle of the night because we're night owls, or it's working super early in the morning so we can have those days to dedicate to our children.
Exactly. And you answered the next question, which was, like, any advice for the moms, like, that are, well, if you want to put something else in that too, like advice to the moms to take, like, what would you advise them for taking, like, how to take that next step towards their dream, like, not to overcome their fear, or how can they just begin?
I think, my biggest piece of advice is to really just go for it and keep going and not back down from what it is that you really want. And don't play small. Like, you know, I think that if you have a big dream and a big vision for yourself and for your life and for your family, and you have the right tools in place to get that to that dream, then anything is really possible. And you have, you know, you have to have the right support system in place. And, you know, one thing that I've definitely learned has been one of the biggest eye openers for me in this whole journey for myself is that a lot of times the people that you think are going to be your biggest supporters turn out not being that particular role in your life. And sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow because you're like, oh, I have this really good group of friends, or I have this like one or two friends who I know are going to support this, and they kind of fall by the wayside, or they sometimes can tend to be your biggest critic, which is fine because I'm a big proponent of constructive criticism. So tell me what you think I'm doing wrong or what you would rather have me do. But they're in my last 3 or 4 years of trying to do this, of doing this, the difficult conversations that I've had to have, and stepping back from relationships that I never thought I'd have to step back from in order for me to continue growing as a person, have been the most eye-opening. So while there's fear and there's sadness and there's a shift could possibly be a shift in some of your relationships as you go forward, understand that that's just how life works. And people are in your life for a season. And sometimes that season is your entire life. And sometimes it's for a few years. And sometimes it's for a few moments, right? And I think we have to be, especially as women, aware of being okay with putting ourselves first and making sure that we have what we need. Because, you know, a relationship that's dragging you down is going to drag you down, and it's going to affect your family. It's going to affect your business. It's going to affect you. And so you really have to.
I can't, oh, wait, hold just a second. The micro, okay. The microphone went mute. Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So I think, you know, just take stock in your relationships, take stock in the ones that really matter. And this is going to happen throughout the rest of your life, right? You're going to hit a level of success, and there's going to be jealousy, or there's going to be, you know, a little bit less support from people, because it does happen. And I've seen it happen to friends of mine. It's happened to me. Just keep your eye on what it is that you actually want. You're doing this for you. You're doing this for your family. You're doing this for your children. You're not doing it for anybody else. And so the naysayers are always going to be alive. The critics are always going to be there. And the supporters will be there too. And you really will learn who those people are as you move through your journey. So don't be afraid to shout from the rooftops what it is that you want to do, because everybody needs to hear your story, and everybody needs to, you know, there are people that need to hear what you have to say, and you have a special talent for whatever your gift is. And so put that out there, because the world needs more of it.
Exactly. That is so beautiful, because that's what I say. Because when we have that burning desire, want to help people, or it's something we want to do, it's for the world, you know, like someone is going to be helped from your message. So why keep it to yourself? Someone's life might change, even if it's one person. Like if you change that one person's life, that's like amazing.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful, as you said. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Krista. And would you like to share some words about your gift you're giving to the audience?
Yes. So I am doing, there's a PDF that I've given to you guys. It is about how to empower yourself and others, especially as women. And so I talk in it a lot about empowering yourself to be able to go out there and empower your relationships, your friendships, your children. There's mindset tools in there. I believe there are some tricks about life balance and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a few pages long. So there's a bunch of different tips and tools and stuff in there. So I hope it's valuable to you guys, because I found that when I do it in a group coaching session, I get a lot of really good feedback from it.
Oh, of course, empowerment is very much needed, and for children and for us. And as I really like, if we're empowered, our children get empowered, and the people around us get empowered. So that's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Krista, for sharing your tips, and it was lovely talking to you. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you for
See you on the
having
next
me.
episode. Thank you.